I had pressed it all this time. It takes forever. I was just telling him, like an idiot, I went to the PKA subreddit. And I, I don't know why I do this. Maybe I felt good about myself. I had a really good day. It was fantastic. I woke up. I took a motorcycle. There's an abandoned castle in North Carolina. And the weather was great, but too windy to go flying. So I'm like, you know what? Let's take the motorcycle out. I ride the motorcycle out. I go just walking around this abandoned castle. I come back. I spend some quality time with Jackie. Then she makes dinner. It's a fucking home run of a day, right? And let's just cap it off with some PKA subreddit. And they said filthy to talk to. Oh, go ahead. Did you want to jump in?
I just, we'll see. You just said all this to us, and so I just wanted, for the audience's sake, you apparently they're not giving you your due with the drinking episode.
That's right. So it says filthy talk a lot of shit in the drinking episode, and I don't recall filthy.
I don't recall that either.
Yeah, that's not how I remember it either. And then I closed the tab, but it said something like that the hosts didn't drink. And then
I'm just putting the contextual pieces together, and I think I just did what the person meant. I do remember filthy talking shit about not being able to drink, about us as a group, or more specifically, you guys being like, "Oh, you guys can't drink. You're doing a drinking episode, and that's what you're drinking." Like that's what I think might have been the shit talk they're referring to. Because I was trying to think of times he was being shitty and like trying to start something, and that obviously didn't happen. So that must be what they were meaning.
Yeah, saying that I can't drink well
ability
is like saying I'm bad at skipping or something. Like it's just my sense of self-worth is totally not wrapped up in my ability to drink. I couldn't care any less.
Clearly.
Wait, I don't understand what you're doing with that.
We're having a whole discussion here about it.
Okay. I see. No, I guess it's not that I think, what I was saying was this. I know that I don't drink well, and I don't handle large amounts of alcohol and act like I'm not drunk. But I should get my fucking dues. I spent the night vomiting in the bathroom, clinging to the cold tile floor as sweat beads poured off my forehead.
And you know what? A funny little story, like a little, in a Memento style, like parallel or Pulp Fiction parallel story. Right after that episode ended, me and Kyle were like, "Hey, you wanna play Call of Duty?" You're like, "Yeah, I'm pretty drunk. I'll play." And so we were both sitting down, like right after you had left, and we were just like, "Do you think he's really throwing up in the bathroom right now?" Because I wasn't 100% convinced. And Kyle's like, "Oh yeah, there's no doubt he's coming back tonight. He may not have hung up on the Skype call, but he's not coming back." Like,
Yeah, I was so sick. It was awful. And I had I had to render out the MP3 and upload the MP3 and upload the YouTube video. And by the way, at the time, if you uploaded both at the same time, like the MP3 would get crackly or something. So like there's a sequence and I have, oh my God, it was so horrible. And I'm just like as I'm typing and then
I remember,
their memory of it was this. Well, at least Kyle tried. Like,
I did try.
I'm sure you did, but I did too.
And the fans really noticed that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, they did.
I don't go on there and read because
these fucks.
See, Donald Trump makes that mistake. He goes and reads his own personal subreddit, which is like the
Twitter.
world.
Right.
Every day.
God.
No, he turns on CNN and it's God damn it,
There's
they're talking about me
escape.
again.
Yeah,
it's him at every channel. Like every channel, it's like Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. If he flips fast enough, they'll say his name. Like it's
the Trump
it's
thing
been
is
a wonderful.
So look, he's doing some stuff that you have to be excited about, right?
Oh yeah, right.
The TPP comes to mind. I don't know if there's anything else. But what's collapsing is the notion that he somehow plays 5D chess while the rest of us are playing checkers. Like that horse shit. Like the New York Times puts out an article today calling him a liar, right? Yeah, Trump's. They didn't say Trump was a liar. They said Trump repeated lies. And there's two. Of course, there's the size of the inauguration, which is just, for some reason, thoroughly under his skin. And the other is he's going around saying that 3 million illegals voted and he really got more votes than Hillary. It's somehow he won a fair and balanced election that was just hugely like illegals and corrupt, right? Those two things he wants to put together, and he's looking like an idiot. But I am addicted to my news feed lately. I've been watching all I try to get up to speed on this TPP thing, right? Like, let me lay out what I've learned, and you guys can correct me if you've learned anything differently. So people think of the TPP as this American-Asian type thing, but somehow didn't include China. It actually included Canada and Mexico, too. They also have Pacific coasts. And it had some things that were good in there. It had labor laws. So right now, and environmental laws, right? Which is like an area where Mexico kind of kicks our ass, for lack of a better term. They just ignore labor laws. You know, maybe they employ children. Maybe they dump chemicals in the river. That makes it hard for American companies to compete on an even playing field when we put these restrictions, like no babies full of chemicals in rivers or whatever. So the TPP would have evened that playing field to some extent. It also had a lot of like electronic and like intellectual property right protections. So like right now, kind of what happens is America will invent some pharmaceutical that's very expensive to create, but easy to make afterwards. And we just get ripped off. So there are a lot of people who feel like that's a great thing. Like, yeah, India gets better drugs because someone fucking like just copies what Pfizer did.
Well, it takes away the incentive for companies to be like, hey, I'm going to provide $10 billion in R&D. Actually, is that financially viable? No, they're just going to generic rip us off right away. Well, let's not research medicine.
Exactly.
Is basically it.
Yeah. So companies like Pfizer were getting fucked by like these Pacific companies, and the TPP would have supposedly protected that. Also, America makes a lot of IP their intellectual property in terms of like entertainment stuff, and we were going to be protected there. Software, Hollywood, whatever. The downside of it is this. I feel like every time there's free trade, we lose. And I can't tell you what in the TPP was bad, only that every other one in the history of ever has been bad for America. So I'm very suspicious, right? That's my take on the TPP. Do you guys have something different than that?
See, I'm kind of on the same page.
Like, I just know that whenever Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump are going to agree on something, that it's probably right. Like it seems like everyone hated this thing except for Hillary Clinton until she was told to hate it, and it's Obama's baby. And it's well past its due date. It's over. Trump's in charge, and it doesn't matter whether it's good or not. It's gone.
McCain loves it. Lindsey Graham loves it. I think Paul Ryan was in favor of it. Like a lot of sort of establishment people were in favor of it.
Doesn't matter.
Could be corrupt. Like yeah, and I don't know if these are the responsible people, you know, who are just going against the grain.
Like, the only thing I don't like with the whole like Bernie people. Trump like supporters who are now really in favor of it is like. The way that it's framed, at least in a lot of articles that I read, is they'll say something like, the TPP has facilitated trades with Mexico, and we are deficient in those trades by $20 billion. And then you're just like, oh my goodness, like that must be a horrible trade deal. Like, my God. When really it's like, oh, if you break that down, it's because we're more of an importing nation of goods that are produced in Mexico. We're not buying piñatas from there out of fucking pity. We're buying goods from Mexico that we want because they're provided at a better cost.
That $20 billion they talk about, they frame it as if it's the balance at the end of transaction that we are left losing $20 billion at the end of our trading back and forth. When in reality, what it is like, they needed $20 billion more of our shit than we needed of theirs.
Yeah. It's not a zero-sum game. You got wealthier when you were like, hey, this dollar means less to me as a dollar than it does as 2 heads of cabbage. And so you give the dollar, and they say, hey, what a coincidence. That dollar means a lot more to me than these 2 heads of cabbage. And so you both are coming out ahead.
Trump is really interesting with the facts when it comes to numbers like that. Like he'll use that the trade deficit with China. He's like, I don't remember what it is. It's 900 billion or something. He's like 900 billion. Can you imagine that losing 900 billion? You're like, well, we didn't lose 900 billion. They didn't steal 900 billion. There's just $900 billion disparity between how much is imported and exported with our Chinese relationship. Or my favorite one. China announced that they were going to build, like, I don't remember the number, but let's say they were going to build 500 factories. They announced that they were building 500 factories. And he used that. Basically what he said from that was, look, we just lost 500 factories. 500 factories were taken from us. And it's like, wait a minute. Well, I guess, but do the Chinese...
Not really,
was there ever a scenario where we thought the Chinese would build those factories in America and, like, have Americans build their shit just for a lark? Like
Foxconn is going to do it.
A steak. He's not like robbing me of that steak in a way because I could have gone to whatever local grocer and purchased it.
That's how he's looking at it. I don't know. The Trump thing is really entertaining. I watched it all day today, and what I saw was CNN and Wolf Blitzer and the entire news media across the world really get bogged down in, I got him. I caught him saying something that's not accurate. And they're so focused on him arguing about the crowd size, and they're so focused about him, this silly remark about there were 3 to 5 million illegitimate votes or votes that were counted improperly, or the statistics he's citing are all bad. But they're all real things that at one time you could have read and had the opinions that he has. They've just all either been debunked or recalculated. The people who came out with the one study came back out a few years later and said, whoa, we were wrong. And he's not accounting for that at any step of the way. I don't know. I think maybe, I hope he's distracting people with this silliness, but it seems like he's really thin-skinned.
I don't think he's playing 5D chess and doing some sleight of hand over here with these lies. I think what's really happening is the press is setting a tone that if he lies, he will be called on it. This is different than you can.
Well, he set the tone, though. He came out guns blazing on Saturday with Spicer. Like he's the one who's pushing this narrative. It's not like they caught on to some little tidbit he said and are blowing it up. He came out on Sean Spicer comes out Saturday ahead of his Monday scheduled first briefing of the presidents, and he's like, "Hey, I am coming out Monday. I'm going to do my thing then, like I promised. I just want to come out here, get you people out on this Saturday to let you know you're a bunch of scumbags, all right? Because Big Daddy Trump's out there working hard." He tried to shame them. He was like, "Let's do a little math real quick. The first section, that's 250,000 people. Second section, another 200,000 at least." And he keeps going, and I just feel like he's doing math in his head. He's like, "All right, are we a million yet? Are we a million yet?"
Holy
and then the parade grounds, that's 9 million people probably. I don't know. And there were magnetometers.
Dude, the whole 5D chess thing, I'm on Woody's same page of that's not happening.
Too many D's for one thing.
But but he will end up looking at some point like another media genius again, because right now the media is shooting themselves in the foot so much with you can't go the next 4 years turning everything up to 11. If your out of the gate speed is Mach 1, he didn't just lie about crowds. He probably doesn't think that many Jews died in the Holocaust or whatever. Gross, crazy things. So they're really ruining their credibility by not tempering their critiques. They should be saying,
have more power when they fit an existing narrative. And this narrative is getting established that Trump is a horseshit, bullshitter liar, right? And now the next time... You're frozen for me.
Did that thing where we're both frozen.
I'm back.
Sorry.
But the next time that Trump says something, his credibility will be lower and lower. And Trump lies a lot. Trump is a bullshitter. And I know that there's this false equivalency, all politicians lie. Bernie Sanders and Trump were both lying. Maybe, but not like Trump. Not like Trump. Trump will go out and just demonstrably say things that aren't true. He will tell you, "I weigh less than 50 pounds. Believe it. People are saying it." And it's like, dude, no. We can see that's obviously you're full of shit. This is Hillary invented the birther thing. No, stop it. These things are just Obama wasn't born in America. Stop. No, you keep doing this and you're ruining your credibility.
But that's not the way it's going to pan out. This has been going like this for the last year and a half. All of their stones that they had ready to throw, they had hucked those stones, and he still was standing at the end of it. And because they spent so much time, I think, I could be totally wrong, I just think they've spent so much time turning every little thing up to 11. You can't just let this little thing slide like you do with every politician. You have to, really hammer down and drill in. And over time, it's going to make people be like, this is bullshit. I don't trust these media people because the world is never this
I think they may continue to trust him the same amount, but what's going to happen is when he actually does something illegal, they're going to be like, well, Wolf screamed and turned red, when Trump lied about how many people were in his crowd. He doesn't seem any more angry. I think what you're saying is when you go to 11, it doesn't leave any room for illegal acts. It doesn't leave any room for actual negligence of office or something like that. Like right now, it's just our president has a bit of a shitty personality disorder, it seems, but that's not the worst. Let's see what his business let's see what he's replacing TPP with. Let's see if he actually does have anything for healthcare. That's what we should be looking at, or maybe looking at some of his nominees and seeing if any of them actually are going to get turned away, because they're not. So it really seems like when you have that eventuality in your head, it's like, well, what are these Senate Democrats doing holding up our CIA director? Because I don't know anything about Mike.
Staying. Am I crazy?
Oh, he's gone. No, they
Comey's FBI.
Yeah, Comey's FBI. They don't know if he's staying or not. But the CIA guy, they didn't even let the CIA guy continue his term until they had a new guy. They let him go on Friday. So we don't have a CIA director as of now. We don't have one.
If the media had like a concerted effort, like if they were all in a cabal making a big plan, I think the right move that they should have been like, all right, the second he wins, our narrative 100% changes to One America. We're all One America, and we're all in this together. And we play that for about 6 weeks or so. You know, when he makes a stupid mistake, you say, you know, we said before the outgoing of this that we were going to give him a shot, and we're giving him that fair shake. I mean, you know, we think the American people, like if they played that and then at the first like real big bomb we're like, okay, Obama never did, and whatever the fuck they scream, like then you'd be like, okay, this really amped up since then. But because they stayed at 11 for a year and a half through the election, and then they grabbed onto the first little meaty morsel of crowd sizes, does America care? And then most of America's like, no,
I disagree.
Who fucking cares?
I don't see it like that. I see it like during the election, there was all this false equivalency. Well, you know, he says this, she says this. They're both kind of scumbags, right? And now there's a new thing. Trump is a liar. And better yet, when Trump lies, they call him on his lies. And hopefully, my dream, not my likelihood, is that he stops lying. Is that he has, you know, it reinforces his commitment to the truth. And he knows that when he just does demonstrably false bullshitty things, that he's like, well, I'm gonna get blasted for this. I remember Fox News, I forget who it was on Fox News, it might have been Bill O'Reilly, but he was like, the Daily Show calls us out on certain things, and sometimes I see a bit or I think a thing and I say, nah, we can't run that way because the Daily Show will roast us. And my hope is that Trump gets that thought every once in a while. Like, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't just invent 3 million illegal votes. Or, you know,
he didn't invent them. He thinks that that's a thing. It's been so people have come to him with information. Someone whose opinion he respects has told him these things, and now it's just in his head. It's just in his head that because I saw those numbers. They flashed them on the
facts then, right? You know, because it must be in his head. All the other sources that say it's not true.
He is like, it's infuriating to like, he's so fucking frustrating to watch sometimes, because it's like all you want to tell him is like, just dude, Mr. President, can you just drop it? Like nobody, like if you were to let this go, nobody would fucking care.
Yes,
like they would harp on you for a second and be like, this inauguration thing is, and here's the funny thing about the inauguration thing. I actually wanted to look into it and see how much bullshit it was. Like there was fake news within fake news in that thing, because it was not as like that picture they showed of like Obama's inauguration and then his inauguration with like the enormous disparity. That was Obama's like at the peak and his in like the very big when people are showing up that day.
It was his at 11:59 p.m. right before he started talking.
But hold on, but you see in another picture, we're talking about a bit different images then. There was one where it showed just like you could see so much white space, and then like it. I just don't get why he didn't just say, yeah, the less people turned out. Did you think more people were going to turn out for a Republican in D.C., jackass? Like, really? Like, why in God's name would you expect it? That's what he should have said, instead of being like, actually, you know, it was the biggest inauguration. If you
what he should have done
big, which
is had the fucking inauguration in Atlanta, Georgia, and we'd have showed up.
Yeah, see, if he had an inauguration in Atlanta, it would be enormous. But it's not.
His inauguration was the most watched, right? It turns out only Reagan had higher TV ratings. This is what I'm hearing. Only Reagan had higher TV ratings, but that was pre-internet. So when you add like the 14 million people that watched on the internet, like me, it's the most watched, right? And those records are going to keep you broken as America grows. But like he could have said, yeah, all right, I get it, we had less people there, we had more people on TV, people are jazzed, you know, I'm gonna get to work. And
yeah, or you could have said, hey, people had to stay home because of the rain, and I'll tell you what, the average Trump supporter, he's got work tomorrow.
He should have just said
exactly, they work hard.
You're not hard. Was smaller.
That's their second job.
I'd have said, you know what? Good point. Unemployment did drop during Obama's term.
If he was playing, this is why I don't buy the 5D chess thing. If he was playing 5D chess, when they said, hey, you peeved about Obama's inauguration being bigger, he would have said, yeah, he definitely a bigger inauguration there. We both got blown out by Reagan, am I right? Like, I don't think anybody's going to touch that guy. But, I'm just happy that people made it out to see me. I'm looking forward so much to working with the American people and these great people that I'm meeting every day here in Washington, D.C.
Yeah,
just say that and people will be like, oh, Trump, not quite as thin-skinned as we remembered. Maybe it's starting to become thickening of the skin, Trump. But nope, he has to just get upset at the drop of a hat.
Arnold said that protester hit him with the egg when he was running for governor. He said something like, maybe I should get him some bacon. Ha ha ha. He's just like, as he's walking with the egg on him, like, just doesn't give any fuck.
Obama did two things I can think of. One, at the very end, he was like, let's give him one more Biden bro meme moment. And he like hugged Biden or something. This is like 5 days ago. And another was the thanks Obama thing. I hope I have it right. But everyone was saying thanks Obama for things that obviously like weren't his fault.
Yeah,
sure. So stub your toe. Thanks, Obama.
Yeah. So he's got this big glass of milk and he tries to dip his cookie in it, but it won't fit. And he's like, thanks Obama. And they put it up on YouTube, and it was funny. And like just that little moment of being the butt of the joke,
self-awareness.
Dude, it's really endearing. Trump has none of that. Trump would not for a moment.
Come on,
could
you've seen his commercials, right? Like that guy's comfortable making fun of himself when he's at least when he's part of the discussion. Like he's got the eagle snapping at his hand. He's dancing like an old man.
Was that in the commercial? The eagle snapping at his?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've seen it in. I didn't know. I'm exposed to very few commercials.
So, I think he's fine being made fun of, but I think
I have YouTube Red.
He has a hard time differentiating between like someone. I don't know. It seems like if the wrong person comes after him, he doesn't get that you're still being fucked with. He takes it as like a personal assault that he would be admitting weakness if he didn't strike back at. When in reality, it's like you'd be really like, depending on the insult, you can't let some guy come in as like a reporter and be like, "Hey, bitch, answer my question," and then be like, "Oh yes, sir, of course he is." Like you have to be, but you don't have to like keep lashing out. Just do enough to show that like, yeah, I'm the president. You're not even worth my time to get upset at. I'm sorry, I got so much big stuff on my plate. Like that's the
me on YouTube has not set an example to follow, but there is something about rising above, looking too big, like just not having time for people giving you shit that Trump hasn't quite figured out yet.
The thing with Trump that like is, it's easy to get wrapped up and agree with a lot of stuff that he does, even if like you don't like the policies as much, which is why a lot of conservatives, I think, switch their free trade stances, because he does a good job having all the correct enemies. Like all the right groups of people dislike Trump. And so when you see, Trump say something and you can be like, that's kind of not the brightest thing to say, and then you see people getting so upset and building it from the 4 it was to 100 on the oh my god scale, then you're like, okay, we must be doing something right, because the correct groups of people are shitting their pants over it and throwing tantrums over it. It would really, that's not a good way to look at it.
You're right, though. Kyle said that too. Early when, this is before Trump won the primary or anything, something like 50 billionaires flew into, is it the Bahamas? Maybe Kyle remembers.
Not quite as exotic. Just off the coast of Georgia.
Okay, all right. So that like all these people flew their private jets in off the coast of Georgia to decide how they were going to stop Trump from being president. And it's like, oh, if all those super rich fucks hate Trump, maybe I like this guy. You know who else hates Trump? Triggly Puff. Do you remember her? The woman with the enormously fat triceps. Carl the Cup. AIDS Skill Rex. Those people all hate Trump. And you know what? Like, I want them to hate me too.
I'm imagining a Tyrannosaurus with a big utility belt.
Did I say it wrong?
That's Skill Rex.
How do you say it?
Skrillex.
Skrillex. Ah, fuck. Well, anyway.
If only my arms were longer, I could use these tools.
I get the skilled toy right. Yeah, anyway, AIDS Skrillex. He, I hate these people, and you're right. But Trump has the right enemies.
50 billionaires flying there, and they're like, these 50 billionaires organizing against Obama. If you're someone who's on the firmly on the right, you'll probably be like, well, it's because he's coming after business interests. These are job creators, people who are running giant corporations. You can't just punish them too much. That's just not their salary when you look up, quote, net worth. Those are pensions, retirement plans, funds for the employees and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And then if you say, oh, these people are all uniting, all the same people against Trump, it's like, oh, you see, it's because he knows that they all know that they're going to get their loopholes cut, because he's going to come in and say, hey, no more of this nonsense bullshit. And so, I don't know. It's just the more you think about it.
That's how you see it. Yeah, we've all
they're in a rich guys club with Trump, and they're like, we can't let him take the presidency. Blah, 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 blah. Like they're always comparing like their supermodel wives or their golden like sports cars, and suddenly Trump is about to take the greatest prize of them all, and they're all jelly.
Oh, like imagine how cocky they were harumphing about that island. As if this guy really thinks he can do it. Yeah. Why'd we meet again? Well, he might really do it.
I was reading on Reddit about a kid who came from a really wealthy family. I got the impression they were worth like $100 million, which isn't Trump level, but let's just call that super wealthy. Yeah. And anyway, he was like, it's not about, at that level, it's not about what you can buy, because we can all buy all this stuff, right? Anyone can have this. It's about like access, Can you get Shania Twain to play at your kid's birthday party? I think it's a dated reference. Miley Cyrus, whatever. Whoever's cool. I
can get Shania Twain to play at my birthday. I got $8,000.
Is that the birthday after the monkeys? Yeah.
So, but can you get this? Can you get, backstage tickets to here? Can you, certain cars, right? They don't you can't buy an F40. You have to like work your way into the club by buying a California and being known as a car guy and whatever. So these things are limited edition. These things that you have to be someone with more than just money. You have to be in the club. And that's where like the elite stuff comes from. Trump has grabbed the most elusive, exclusive prize to have ever exist. He is the most powerful man to exist thus far in human history. People will grab like Genghis Khan or something, but no, I'm talking about raw power. Genghis Khan had no nukes, right? Trump wins without any casualties.
It's not even close. We even have more horses. Yeah.
I don't even know if that's true.
I bet you're right. I bet the United States could assemble a horse army to rival that of Genghis Khan, right?
What do you think the biggest country is we could conquer on horseback?
Oh, Canada?
Oh, yeah, you're right. We could conquer Canada on horseback.
No, we couldn't.
Oh, we could.
You get to have modern. Okay, like 3 drones. Like three freebie drones.
But all they do is intel. Wow. I think we could take like a Haiti,
Oh, we could take Haiti with a bunch of guys
just horseback.
Yeah. Oh, you don't even need the horses. We could do that on foot.
Yeah. Well, do horses even help you?
I think for mobility, like if you wanted to get like 50 guys into like the center of the city with like machine guns and explosives and rockets and air support helping them out, like maybe horseback could be done. It's not ideal, but it just, I guess it depends how you're going to take over the country, because I always heard the way to do it would be to take down all the power grids. Like if you could take down like very specific locations.
That checkbox can't pre-approved.
Take out all the.
No, not Haiti. I don't want to conquer Haiti. Somewhere better.
Yeah, Dominican Republic. It's right next door, same climate, much better country.
The Haitians would be like, "You want to be responsible for us, please?"
Yeah. Why doesn't Puerto Rico want to be a state?
Don't they?
I don't think so.
No, they don't. I don't think they do.
Okay, well that's stupid of them, because we don't want them either. We don't want their debt and all their all their issues.
It's because we like a 51-star flag looks retarded.
I've seen mock-ups of it. They just like stick a star in the middle or something. It looked pretty cool.
Don't they just shift it or something and it works?
I saw one with like cool patterns of stars. There was a circle of stars and then like stuff around it for the 51. I don't know. There's a lot of different designs for it.
Remember when we had the circle of stars? Was that like the 13 colonies?
Well, they've done it a bunch of times. Like when the flag just prior to the Civil War that the abolitionists put together was a circle of stars, and they were the non-slave states represented.
I like the circle of stars more.
I do too.
I have Googled this.
Just consolidate our states.
I found a few 51-star arrangements that we could use.
I've seen the special circular. I like that. I don't know about the special. And motion.
The checkerboard on the left was the one I was referring to. It somehow has a shift. I don't know how you get 51 because it looks like it would have to be an even number, but I guess if I counted them, they'd be there. Special looks unplanned. I feel like if
Special
you hired,
looks like
it looks like it's moving.
Like if you told a 4th grader to put 51 stars on there, you'd end up with Special.
That's probably how they achieved
that.
It.
Looks like, you know how Betsy Ross was a kindergarten teacher or whatever, and she designed the first one. Like, what if they just did that again? They're like, well, we're 1 for 1 so far. Miss Appleby, could you give it a go?
Handprints. It's got fucking hand turkeys all over it. Like fucking looks terrible.
I kind of like modified checkerboard.
I'm sorry, General Johnson.
I feel like
I want something
checkerboard.
more aggressive. I feel like we need a new flag for the 21st century. I like the stars and stripes being there, but I think we need some weaponry displayed. Like I like those flags that have like AKs on them crossed, or like an old like I think there's an African flag with like maybe a spear and a shield or something. Like I think we should at least get the eagle on there, like the Mexicans have. Don't they have an eagle on their flag? Maybe
I saw a TED talk about flags. This guy talked for like 20 minutes about flags, and it was completely riveting. It was one of the best TED Talks I've ever seen. And
high standard.
I think that if you saw it, it would influence your opinion on what you're looking for. You'd be looking for a simple, bold, easily recognizable, and creatable flag.
We got our branding down pat already, so the stars and stripes have to stay. You can't. You can only add to the flag. You can't remove core elements of it or change them. Like you can't suddenly go to vertical stripes and like polka dots. Like nobody know the fuck we are. We already got all that stuff.
Probably be influenced by the current flag. Like there'd be fewer stripes.
Those stripes are representative of the colonies, though.
I hear you. I don't know. I feel like our flag is hard to recreate.
I think the U.S. overall has a really good flag. I found a nice top 10 list here of the indisputably most bullshit worst flags of countries. So if your country's on here, I'm sorry. Anybody from Kyrgyzstan?
The Union Jack is on here.
It looks like your Xbox red ringed. Like is what this looks like. Like this looks like an Xbox logo.
Yeah.
It looks like they made this after Xbox came out, and they were like, "Nobody's going to notice. We're Kyrgyzstan." They don't even notice when we don't show up at the UN. When's the last time we went?
Kyrgyzstan looks like that's a cool flag, actually. It just doesn't look like a modern flag at all.
I like Indonesia and Monaco and Poland. They all have the same flag.
Yeah, that's lazy.
That's not good.
That can't possibly be their flag. It's just red, white, in perfect 4 squares with a black line in the middle.
See, Bhutan
had the right idea with something neat, and then they were late for the due date on Founding Day, and so no one was able to color in the dragon.
It would be much better if they colored in the dragon, wouldn't it?
I don't think so. I really wish you guys watched this TED Talk too. You would look at this and say, the dragon is the problem. It is far too detailed. It doesn't work at a distance, etc.
Oh, we're going to recognize the dragon flag. Hey, is that Bhutan or the dragon people of space? Bhutan.
Is that Bhutan or the Lannisters?
Dragon.
Or the Targaryens?
Scroll down to and look at Haiti. It's number 6. It is clip art pasted into the middle of blue and red, and that's it. This is the worst. My God, how did this get approved?
Dude, it's low effort down there. They're an impoverished nation. This is.
I don't hate Maldives.
Maldives looks like they just couldn't commit, so they stole someone else's flag, and they made their flag, and they were like, "All right, we're ready to be a country," and they're like, "You didn't. That's not our flag, right? You realize that's already Sudan's flag." It's like, "Oh my God, are you kidding me?"
Belize,
well, just put it in something red.
Belize at number 3 is my personal definition of terrible, terrible flag. It is like a.
Come to Belize.
It has some tiny words in there. I don't know what language that is. I suspect it's Latin or something.
Translate that.
It's got to do with an axe and a paddle, and then a shield and a boat, and a seascape and another
their
baseball bat, perhaps.
You make do. Yeah.
Dude, it is way too busy. Oh, America got second worst.
Under the shade, I flourish.
They put that there to troll the only countries they know will be looking at this list. Nobody from Belize is Googling this.
I'm guessing that Belize is a heavily forested land, perhaps.
People. Well, that guy's just got a baseball. No, that's an oar.
That's a paddle. He's got an oar. I like to imagine it's a sexual thing.
Yeah, I kind of like the Union Jack too. I don't know that I agree with aspects of this list.
I like the Union Jack because each stripe is representative of a different part of the UK.
Oh my God, is that true? Look,
yeah,
the UK's got some real geography issues. They need to. This is a subset of this, and this is a superset of that.
If you want a mastery of it, but like it would be like I'm sure you could get into
Venn diagram of bullshit over there.
There's some American stuff that's similar, right? You know, when you start talking about the District of Washington D.C. and how there's a mayor of D.C., like explain that to a foreigner, and they're like, "But the president's there, can't he handle that?" And like, well, there's some local shit, and it needs to be handled, and like, and then we have territories too. Like, who owns those Samoan Islands? Isn't that us? Aren't we responsible for them?
Samoa for the Samoans.
I know we own.
The Girl Scouts changed their cookie because it was offensive.
Yeah, now it's a Fat Islander cookie.
They made 2 new cookies.
I heard about that. We talked about that, didn't we?
Oh,
what was the cookie? I forgot what they added.
They're both s'mores cookies.
They
just sort of arrived there differently. My theory is they wanted to make a s'mores cookie. And, like, all right, so we're doing s'mores. Now you guys have to come up with actual cookies that it'll be. And they couldn't pick. So they're like, all right, we'll do 2 s'mores. I think that's it. That's my suspicion on how it went down.
Girl Scouts should thank their lucky stars every day that they have the whole, charity angle going for them. Because as I've said before, put those out into the cookie-free market and very quickly you will see change in purchasing decisions. You will see, they're all there. And they're going to be like, oh, goddamn, we stocked a bunch of these cookies. It turns out when you're not being guilted by a 9-year-old at your front door and you have shit to do, people prefer Oreos. And
I guarantee if you got a bunch of interracial kids to run around talking about they need books for school and selling Oreos, they'd make a killing. Like, they destroy the Girl Scouts.
Dude, they're selling double stuff. They're gonna quadruple the Girl Scout. If a guy shows up to my door right now with the box of double stuff, so I'll be like, "Is this for charity?" It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. How much is it?
2 for $9.
This package is open. You know what? Forget I asked.
I'm saving up to join ISIS. What's that? Whatever. I don't care. Just give me the Oreos.
So I watched a thing about Khabib last night on YouTube. He's an MMA fighter, so Taylor knows. He's in the same weight class as Conor McGregor, and during his last fight, he's crushing this guy, Michael Johnson, who's an established good fighter. Yes. He's crushing this guy in an embarrassing way, where it's clear to me, I think, that he's playing with his food. And while he's beating him up, he's like, "You must give up. I deserve this. You know it's true." And Johnson like punches him in the mouth. He goes, "Okay," and he fucking elbows him in the face, and Johnson's head's bashed up against the thing. The next round, he's beating him up on the floor more against the cage. And Dana White, the guy who's like partial owner of the UFC, or at least they I don't know if he is anymore.
He is a partial owner, and he also seems to run it. I don't know how much he runs it versus front man.
Yeah, that's a PR thing, I think. I'm Dana White. I run the UFC.
He makes some decisions,
whatever I'm
anyway.
Told. Yeah. But anyway, he's talking to that guy out. He's beating up his opponent. He's like, "Dana, I deserve it. I deserve the title. Come on, Dana, get me that fight." Like, and he's just like, and Dana's like, "Win this fight first. Win this one." And he's like, "I got this one in the bag. Anytime you want." However you want. He's got this guy just destroying him. Well, I watched a YouTube video about him last night, and then I started watching more. And so this guy's from a region in the Caucasus called Dagestan, and he was raised in altitude by his militaristic father, and trained by his father in martial arts. And the narrator of the video says, "Hey, whenever you hear that someone was trained by the father, the first thing you want to know is who's their father. What right does he have to be training someone? Well, let me tell you." And he starts breaking it down. He's like, "At the age of 8, his father began training freestyle wrestling." And then he becomes part of the Soviet wrestling team or something. But he's also a national Sambo champion. And he's also, what's the other, and there's another martial art that he's a badass in. There's 3. It's freestyle wrestling, Sambo, and...
Catch wrestling?
Nope. Maybe jiu-jitsu. I don't recall what the third one is. I don't think it is jiu-jitsu, though. But in any case, it was three disciplines that he trained his son at from like the age of 7 or something, at high altitude the whole time, because they live in these fucking mountains, and they're also very very religious. They're Muslim. So no alcohol or drugs his whole life, like in this rigid system, like just training and wanting to be the champion. And they said that there were 2 real career paths. You know, you always hear about like black scary neighborhoods in the United States. Like, yeah, they had 2 options. It was either, you know, the gun or the basketball or the football or whatever. And you know, guys either ended up in a gang or, you know, elevated themselves and got out with sports or something like that. Well, in Dagestan, it was like either jihad or sports, and so he chose sports. But he's declared a jihad on the sports. Like he's putting all that, you know, he's putting all that intensity that guys normally put into like cooking up bombs in their basement and stuff, and he's putting it into mixed martial arts. And to hear him talk about his father is scary. He's like, growing up, if you are punished, you deserve it. They know what is best. They are elder. It's just like,
his father did sambo, freestyle wrestling, and I'm not sure what you were looking for. He did judo and pankration.
Judo, that's it.
I don't
yeah, know. It was judo that they mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The really fascinating thing, they show him at the age of 10 wrestling a bear.
Yeah.
and of course, you know, it's not like the bear's not mauling him or anything. It's more of a playful, like, thing. But just like who here had access to a bear?
That's become a big part of the legend, you know, that he wrestles bears and stuff like. Dude, and so my numbers might be wrong, but Ireland has something like 5 million people. Is it 7? Okay. And Russia has 120 million people. Is that 150 million people? And
70 times more.
So Khabib is like, give me the push, give me a title shot, and I will rip that belt off Conor, and I will open your market from those 7 million Irishmen to the 120 million.
The country's got
Russians.
150 million people, but only 85,000 TVs.
I don't know what the deal is. I do know that Russians don't have that much money. There's a lot of broke Russians out there.
Yeah, that's what. If I were Conor, like if they do fight eventually, I don't know if Dana wants to do that. But if they did, it would be a huge fight, and it's one I really want to see. And it seems to be one that a lot
Dana
of people
says
want to see.
It's going to be in Russia.
Oh, that's going to be crazy.
That's some Rocky 5 shit right there.
Rogan was talking about how passionate the Russian fans are. He says every Instagram post that he makes, it doesn't matter what it's about. It could be about On It or whatever those pills he takes are, or it could be about, you know, like him at a weigh-in for like Joe Lozon. There'll be like 30 guys on there who are like, Khabib forever, Khabib forever, like just they're just blowing up with Khabib. Give Khabib the fight. He's like, I'm not the one who picks the fights. He's like,
if you could read English, you'd know that. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, put a word in for Khabib. We should get Khabib in there.
Jail fought. Did you watch that, Kyle?
I did watch it. I bought Spike just to watch it.
Cool. I saw it on the internet, but I did watch it live. I was checking it out, and I was very bummed.
All right, so I'm not good enough to know. I don't think I could say definitively that was a fixed fight. But I will say that if I were going to fix a fight, that's how I would do it. You don't fix a fight by getting blasted in the face or getting a concussion. Nobody wants that. Anybody who's ever been knocked silly knows it's a terrible, terrible thing. So they're not going to hit each other like that. And the striking looked lame to me. I saw Tito came out. He threw a couple of punches. There was a jab, cross, and Chael kind of slips the cross, and it makes a little bit of contact, but like something that a professional fighter wouldn't even sneeze at. And then it's to the ground, and Chael appears to have a choke, but not really. And then from like half guard, Tito cranks Chael's head until his forehead did turn purple, but I expect him to deal with that. And Chael taps, and it looked fake to a lot of people on the internet. I will say that for sure.
Yeah, the internet seems to think it's fake. I feel like I'm not sure. One thing is, Chael wasn't getting choked. A rear naked choke, you kind of put your elbow under the guy's chin, and you squeeze these two things. But it was like on his chin over his mouth, kind of. So it wasn't cutting off his blood supply. Having said that, Tito is a monster. And Chael might have been looking at a broken jaw or something. You know, he may have decided, because I've tapped to triangles and stuff that weren't in right. But I'm like, if I don't tap, this jaw's breaking. You know, it's gonna.
Yeah, you're
split.
like, this is more pressure than my jaw's ever had before. I don't know where it breaks.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Right.
Like who's ever had their head crushed like this with someone pulling on their ankle and like crushing it? Like, you don't know how much it takes to crush your own jaw. Like
sometimes
are we there
you
yet?
Tap to a crank, that of your face gets broken. And,
I think he should have taken it though. Like that's what Tito said. He's like going into this. He's like, if he broke my arm, he breaks my arm. If he knocks me unconscious, I'm gonna crawl if that's what it takes. He's like, I'm not getting. You know, I'm finishing this fight. And Chael did not come in with that mindset. Chael has like 4 more fights on his contract with Bellator.
I want to say 5.
Oh, I thought it was like a 5. Okay, it could be.
I thought it was a 6-fight deal, but whatever. It's about the same.
It's a lot of fights.
And Chael says he intends to fight them all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at. Yeah.
And Wandy's in Bellator. I want to see him fight Wanderlei Silva. That's the big thing.
He'll get his ass kicked again, I think. Did you see his UFC pick from a couple years ago and his recent pick? Like just the musculature and the definition. It's when he got in the ring. I remember like as soon as I saw him get in the ring, I was like, that's what I would look like after 2 years of working out. That's it right there. Like eating normal food. Like because we're the same height. He weighs like 190 pounds. Like in great condition. And he just he didn't look like a pro athlete though. He just looked like a guy who works out. Like
they kept saying it was Dad Bod Chael. You know, there's two
Chaels.
Dad Bod Chael. There's Dad Bod Chael, and then there's basically clean Chael.
and we're saying Dad Bod. I mean, he looked great. Like if we saw him on the,
I wish I had that.
Like, oh yeah, he's 43, or is it 39?
40.
He could be. Yes, I get mixed up, but 39, 43. Both of those numbers are ringing bells. In any case, he's an older guy, and you would think he could get on testosterone. Okay, you would think he could get on testosterone legally if he wanted to. He needs some. It looks like.
Well, yeah, most people can get on testosterone legally, but it's illegal in the UFC. But I don't know how much Bellator tests. I do think that there was I remember reading there was a clause in his contract or something, like he barely gets paid if he's not clean. He needs to pass those tests.
Well, it's Tito. Tito beat him in what looked like a grappling match that lasted all of like 3 minutes. So huge disappointment.
Yes. And I like Chael. There's no reason to like Chael. He's a bad person, right? Chael,
the American gangster.
He's a liar. He's a cheater. He's a fraud. He's a felon. Right, you know.
I like fighters' names. I like when their names are like fucking stupid or make no sense. He's Chael, the American gangster, Sonny.
You know who has the best name? I don't even know his real name, but his nickname is Bruce Leroy. He's a black guy. Yeah, it's great. Anyway, we probably shouldn't talk too much about MMA, but Chael fought third best ratings ever in Bellator history, and he lost, and I was very sad.
I want to see Cody Garbrandt fight again.
Yeah, it's going to be a while. It feels like all the interesting fighters are not fighting right now.
Yeah. Isn't Cowboy fighting next Saturday? Cowboy Cerrone.
Yeah, I know he's fighting soon. I think Woodley
he's on that
fights
card
Wonderboy
with,
in March.
I think he's fighting on the same card as the headliner for that card is like Shavinka. I fuck up that Polish chick's name. She's like the number 2 bantamweight, maybe fighting Holly Holm. No. That's a whole different thing. When is that happening? The Holly Holm 145-pound fight.
Holly Holm isn't fighting a Polish chick though.
No, I know she's not. She's fighting a black man.
Wait, what?
The woman that Holly Holm's fighting is a dark-skinned, very ugly person who could pass for a man if she had short hair. But there's a Polish chick who's like second in the bantamweight division who I thought was fighting somebody this coming week on like Friday or Saturday. Shevchenko or something. It doesn't matter.
The woman I'm talking about is named Germaine de Rondami. I don't know her that well. I should.
Yeah.
Every time I don't know a fighter, I get a lot of feedback on that. What? You don't know the second best 145-pound girl? No,
God, are you even a fan, idiot?
Right? Yeah. Anyway,
that's always annoying. Like when you're talking about something to do with sports and you see a comment that's not necessarily wrong. Like if I see somebody who comments who like knows way more about hockey than me, and they're like, actually, that's not how waivers work, and the Blues cap situation is more like this. You know, if you were a real fan, like, you know, I'm always okay with it until they do the little like, and you talk as though you know. And it's like, well, just because I don't follow all the 16-year-olds that we say, hey, pick him, maybe he'll be good someday. Like, just so I don't follow that part of the sport doesn't mean I know anything else. Just like you don't have to know who the best Cambodian kickboxer is to care about UFC, which, I mean, from the outside, like, listening in, it sounds like you guys know a lot about UFC. Because I don't know anything about UFC. Like, I assume Kyle thinks of me as like a hockey grandmaster, but I'm really not.
Yeah, I think that everything that I know is just derived from, you know, television and the internet. It's stuff I've read. It's very little that I've like, I guess that's how everyone's knowledge really is coming from, except for the guys who are literally getting in their cars and going across the country and like watching these fights and like writing on a scratch pad. Yeah, this chick, it's only her second amateur fight, but wow, that speed, that's going to mean something. And her coach is this guy who knows Jimmy Jam, and this is going to be for real in 8 years. Like, oh yeah, she's 12. Yeah, it's fine though. Like if you're doing scouting reports, you're a different level. But I just watch TV and you know it. I remember what I hear and what I see, and most of it makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, I can usually be like, really, Joe? I don't know about that. Sometimes I disagree with them, but most of the time, you know.
Ronda Rousey.
I disagree with
the
fighter. So
I believe that. I didn't know any better.
It seemed true when he said it.
It seemed true when he said
Joe
it.
Rogan seems like he knows everything about UFC. Like the Blues game tonight, it's in the first period now, so I'm not watching yet. But it's on NBC, and I don't watch games on NBC with any audio. I do other things with my audio because, my God, whoever they have hired to talk about what's happening in the game, like, number one, it's a company based in Chicago, so that they always bring it back to the Blackhawks. That's fine. Like, it's expected. That's their hometown. They're going to do that. But they just say things that are wrong. Like, they just announce that players who no longer play on the team have just passed the puck. They'll be like, there's Shattenkirk, the Blues defenseman. He's only two. Yeah. They'll be like, he's like, they just did this. Like, I just saw someone being like, the main announcer's like, Shattenkirk playing great defense, promoting a lot of scoring. You'd know how great this impression was if you knew who I was talking about. Shattenkirk promoting great scoring opportunities here. Only one defenseman with more points than Shattenkirk for St. Louis. That is Robert Bortuzzo, only 2 more points. And it's like, Bortuzzo has 6 points this season, and Shattenkirk has like 32. So I don't know what sheet you're reading from. He doesn't even play in a lot of the games because he's not good enough. And then he'll say things like, you know, and David Backes, the kind of leadership that you need. It's like, we traded him a season ago. He's not on the team. He plays for the Bruins now.
That's
like,
great.
who? And they'll be like
well, they're playing tonight too.
It's like someone gave them a player's sheet name from like, here you go. We couldn't find, this is the version from 2013. Most of the players are still there. Just do your best. Like, yeah, like it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The same thing happens in MMA. Skip Bayless. I don't know what his name is. There's a very big, strong black guy, good looking. He's not opposite Skip Bayless, but I see him talking about MMA all the time, and it's clear. Oh, and then of course there's the guy Skip Bayless that is opposite him. He's kind of a nerdy black guy. I forget his name, but anyway, none of these people know anything about fighting. Nothing. They don't say things that I can point to and like.
They speak in generalities. They're like, yeah, you got to give it all right there. When everything's on the line, you got to dig for that little extra. And there he is, you know, hitting him hard. You can see, yeah, he hit him real hard there. Did you see that? Yeah, that's a hard hit. Yes, I've had some hard hits, but that's a hard hit. And you're like,
perfect.
What kind of punch was it? Oh, I don't know. There was so many. It was a flurry.
Yeah, they speak in generalities. That they're expert at not getting themselves in trouble, but it's also clear that they don't know a fucking thing about the sport.
At no point they talk about
like, hard.
Look how he mixes his Muay Thai with his dirty boxing. Like, you're not getting that from him. You're not hearing about overhand right followed by that,
or even
that
things
back
like
fist.
This guy's takedown defense. You know, will this guy's takedowns beat that guy's takedown defense? You know, I can't wait to watch it. They don't say that. They're just like, Conor McGregor's shown time and time again how much heart he has. You know, I guess, yeah. They all have a lot of heart. I think.
It comes up.
But does Conor is known for his shit talk about the opponent. Like when they ask him stuff like, "What were you thinking when you were going into that third round?" Like he probably does the same thing all the athletes do, where they're like, I wanted to go out there hard. I wanted to make sure my punches were on point. I wanted to do this and that. Connor's they don't give their little generalities.
He said, what's he say? He says, timing beats speed and precision beats power. Yeah. Yes. He's got little quotable lines like that. Yeah. He's pretty good.
When he lost to Nate Diaz, he said he wasn't efficient with his energy or something. Does that sound right? Is that what he said? He wasn't efficient with his energy. He basically came out too hard and.
Oh, yeah, Conor's like it's running out your style. You know,
people fight when I rewatched the second fight yesterday, and it was exactly how I remembered it, but I still don't know how Nate recovered from all those leg kicks in the first round. For the first round of that fight is Conor putting these awful leg kicks on Nate's lead foot, and to the point where he's hobbled. He's like, he can barely put his weight on it, but he's still pursuing Conor and cutting him off. And it seemed like he knew that Conor can only kick for 2 rounds. Conor can only kick for 2 rounds. He's got a 10-minute timer. He's just watching. He's like, yeah, 10 minutes of this. That's all he can do. Because after 2 rounds of Nate crippling him, I thought he couldn't. Nate comes out for the third, or actually and it seemed like Nate just forgot about his leg. He was just like, it doesn't hurt anymore. And it's like his leg was fine, but Conor's just gassed from trying to chop down a fucking bamboo tree for 2 rounds.
Yeah, Nate was, so you've heard styles make fights, right? And, the MMA mat doesn't work. Nate was like the antidote to Conor. He's really long and he's really tough, right? So Conor has this magic, the touch of death, they call it, in his left hand.
And he's big.
And it somehow doesn't work on Nate. And, he had to just fight for 5 rounds and outpoint him, which is something Conor doesn't usually do. It was a really super fight.
I think it all boils down to Nate's skull is bigger than anyone else that Conor fights. It's fighting is in the end is going to come down to a math equation, right? Like how much force is this fist that weighs this much going to exert on that skull that weighs that much, and what G forces are going to be created when it whips back the other way. And I think that Nate's head is just a little bit bigger than everybody else's head that Conor normally punches.
Have you ever seen The Simpsons? The Homer Simpson reference where they find out that I can't believe you guys haven't seen this. Is like an old Simpsons episode and it was still funny. They find out that the area between Homer's brain and that he had an extra wide barrier between his actual skull and his brain.
Super thick skull and a small brain, right? And it's really padded in there. Yeah.
Basically, that's what it was. It's just so padded that they put him in as a professional wrestler or a professional boxer to win money on him. And it turns out that just nobody on the planet can knock Homer Simpson out because a human body can't get enough force on that cranium to do any damage whatsoever to the brain. That's basically what's happening.
Homer Simpson head is
in a lesser sense because he's not a retard like Homer.
I watched him skateboard off a cliff and land on his head, and he's fine.
Yeah,
that's the continuity of the show.
My favorite episode is the chili cook-off episode. He goes to Homer's walking around to test everybody's super spicy chili, and he's got his own wooden spoon. He's twirling in his fingers, and Lenny goes, "They say he made it from a larger spoon." He keeps twirling his spoon. He's testing everybody's stuff. He's like, "That's only 2 alarm." Fat Flanders starts crying. I know. I just wanted to seem like a big man. And he gets over there to the chief, and the chief has a welding helmet on. He takes the lid off his, and it's glowing. He's like, "These are the kaboba peppers grown on the Guamata Islands by insane asylum members." And they're striped like a yellow jacket. And as soon as Homer touches it to his tongue, he just goes crazy and runs away. And he ends up taking candle wax and putting it in his mouth, swishing it around till his whole mouth is coated, and then he goes back to Chief Wiggum for more, and he just eats the peppers. He just takes the peppers out of the chili one by one and eats them, and then he's like, "Don't quit your day job, Chief," whatever that is, and he walks away, and then his stomach goes, and then he trips out and starts hallucinating in this weird bit for 2.5 minutes where he's turning into a snake and crawling into another dimension. That's a great episode.
Dude, The Simpsons used to be a really good show.
Yeah, it used to be funny.
Do you think Simpsons got worse, or you just got tired?
Yeah, it got worse.
Like you've seen
it got worse. It like everybody agrees that I think that like after season 8 or 9, it started going downhill. I think seasons 2 through 8 are supposed to be the golden years. But what also happened is like other things came out that were just edgier.
That doesn't make Simpsons worse.
It doesn't make Simpsons worse, but it changes the playing field. It makes The Simpsons its own thing that's different, but their kind of humor didn't have anywhere else to go. I feel like South Park is always like one-upping themselves. Like when I saw Mr. Slave put Paris Hilton's entire body in his ass. Like he sat on her whole body and like took it in his ass.
To me, South Park lost it. I was shocked by South Park, years ago when Chef was saying things you didn't expect. Now I'm numb to South Park. And it's not that South Park, like, if today's episodes came out 10 years ago, I think they'd be just as impactful. But, like, South Park it's run its course for me. Like, and I'm not saying it got worse. It's the same thing for 10 years. I feel that way about a lot of shows.
20.
Okay. Wow, has it been 20 years? Wow.
In 20 years.
After everyone else was saying The Simpsons was bad, I haven't seen it in a while, but say, episode or season 14 or 15, everyone was like, it lost it. I'm like, these are just as good as the first ones, if not better. Old school, like the first couple seasons sucked. Back when Homer was really mean and choked Bart too much and stuff like that.
No such thing. I like that.
I thought some of that was funny.
Homer wasn't even funny back in the day. He was just like an angry drunk dad. It wasn't until when his relationship got better, then he got better.
I finally understood the Cape Fear episode of The Simpsons, Kyle, because I watched Cape Fear recently at your recommendation when Bart is all afraid on the houseboat thing and they're sitting in there just drifting down and Bart's trying to fall asleep on the scary boat and the lights off and then just so loudly just burst through the door and you see this silhouette running at him screaming going, Bart, do you want a brownie before you go to bed? As Homer's holding this pan of brownies and a giant brandishing a butcher knife and it just freaks out. No, I'm sorry, buddy, were you a little startled? Yeah, it's so funny.
I have a topic. I want to do one more topic before we wrap the show.
All right.
Sure. All right. What do we got?
So somebody wrote me, but it's a question that normally you'd have to be a Patreon guy to do. But I thought we'd do it on PKN, as sort of because a
loophole.
Yeah, right. Anyway,
Trump's gonna get rid of those. Yeah.
So the core of it is, am I an asshole? So this was 1 year ago when I was 16. Age of consent is 15 in Sweden. I was dating my then girlfriend. Let's call her Amanda, and we had been dating for 8 months. We lost all of our virginities together except kissing, which leads to the incident. When he says he lost all his virginities, I'm assuming like anal, oral, whatever.
Yeah, the whole list.
So I felt the relationship was going a bit downhill, and I knew it was going to end soon. I took her anal virginity, fully knowing that we were going to break up at some point, and I did 1 month later over the phone due to LDR. LDR? Does that mean anything to you?
Long distance relationship.
Nailed it. Yeah. So he took her anal virginity, knowing that he was going to break up, and he did a month later on the phone. The fact that he convinced her that he would get her a small gift for Christmas and then a big one for her birthday instead of 2 medium-sized gifts. Of course, this was fully knowing that the big one probably wasn't going to happen. So, is this guy an asshole?
It actually is a gradient. So the first part where they're sexing or they're having sex, it's not. Like, I feel like he is in the vision of thinking like, oh, I am the guy who grandmastered and orchestrated this whole thing and got her to like, I think like if she probably wanted to do that too with you, like I really doubt that you were just like over there doing all the, the reason that happened is because she wanted to as well, obviously. Yeah. The thing that's shitty where you become an asshole is that gift thing where why don't you just say, hey, I'm going to buy, don't even bring it up. Just buy the gifts as they come. You don't have to like temper it and be like, I'm going to get you a really small one, insignificant, but a couple months, that's when the train's coming. Like, no, that's the assholey part.
That is the assholey part. What if she did anal sex because she was doing anything she could to keep him?
But she had no reason to think that. It's not as if he. Why would she think that? It's not as if he offered an ultimatum, like either you do this or it's gonna be our relationship's gonna take a turn.
That the relationship isn't working out, and they broke up a month later, but it was a surprise to her.
Maybe. You know what? You know, from her angle, you know what it could be? Mm-hmm. It could be she knew it was gonna wind down, and she thought, I think I want to try this, and with someone who I know it's really not gonna. You get out to anywhere other than this.
Yeah, we need a video. Do you have a video of this? Because I need to see exactly what happened from at least two angles. If you can involve a mirror, I really like that.
They're 15, so I don't need the video.
It's silly to pretend.
Send the video to Woody, care of Kyle. just like packages for Taylor. What you want to do first? Send them to Woody. Okay, he will make sure that it's something good, and then he will forward it on.
Yes, he's quality control.
I think the guy's an asshole. I think he's an asshole.
The gift part solidifies him as an asshole. Mm-hmm. The sex part, I don't think makes him an asshole at all, because I'm giving the girl enough credit that she knew what she wanted as well. And like women, like, it's not like it's just a constant game where you have to be manipulative and horrible. Like, I don't think this guy was like Patrick Bateman tricking this girl. I mean, the trickiest part of what he did was the whole promise of a present that will not come. Like, that's shitty. Like, oh, Christmas is going to be dope. You're going to get a tablet and a laptop. Oh, you just wait. You know?
So, but at least in his mind, he's an asshole because he did it on purpose. Like, there's that. You may say, hey, this girl wanted it. But he felt like the relationship was going downhill. So he's like, well, I'm going to get anal out of this and cheap on the gift and then dump her, which is exactly what he did. He planned that. So even if she was pro-anal, right, like in Taylor's scenario, she
was.
Yeah, I guess.
They did it. Yeah.
Look, sometimes people do things even though it's not their favorite thing to do, right? The relationships work out like that. And
but they still want to do it. You know, I eat broccoli, but in the end, I'm not going to eat that broccoli and be like, I felt a little raped by that chef. I didn't really want it.
Kyle, finish your anal sex.
I didn't really want that broccoli. I just said I wanted it because I wanted to, fit in, and I didn't want to cause a big thing. But I think I better file a police report against that chef because I'm all full of broccoli now. And
do you remember we had that make Heather uncomfortable thing, and we asked her about anal sex, and she was like, I don't think anyone likes girls don't like anal sex, but sometimes you do that.
That's her own anecdotal experience. Like, there are plenty of girls who love it. I knew a girl who only would have anal sex.
Interesting.
Lots of them orgasm from it even more powerfully, and it allows you to do weird stuff to their pussy while you're fucking their ass. Like, you get all kinds of vibrators and like some sort of toy shaped like a palm tree, whatever.
Good point. Yeah. But I don't know, somehow I built it up in my head
that you can use to reach into an aquarium with both hands. Play with the fish.
So I have in my head somehow that this girl gave up her anal virginity, not unwillingly. That's not what I'm trying to say. Just, in an effort to save the relationship, or would have taken it back if she knew that he was going to dump her a few weeks later.
Really? I don't know that they hang on to that one. There's no hymen in your asshole, right? Like, I feel like your anal virginity is much less important than your vagina's virginity. There's actually an anatomical difference between a virgin and a non-virgin. Yeah, there's a hymen. But
the hymen doesn't necessarily. It's not like it's a seal across the front.
It's a seal inside of the vaginal canal on the way to the cervix, and it's almost and then it breaks, and there's blood, and it's a painful experience.
There's a lot. So I've done some research on this. There's lots of different hymen shapes, and that like seal door aspect I think is very uncommon.
Well,
I've seen porn where there was hymens. Like, I haven't seen that many, but I've seen like 3 hymens broken, and they all look like that. I don't know. I'm not a hymen expert by any means, but I know that the hymen is a thing that exists only in the vagina and not in the asshole. There is no one.
We'll agree on that.
Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. Regardless of, maybe you lost that thing horseback riding when you were 8, but nothing happened to your asshole that's any different before or after. A little stretching and everything will be just fine.
My parents got me a boys' bike.
I just feel like this girl's not gonna be like 2 years from now. I can't believe I gave my butthole virginity to Eric, the 15-year-old Swedish boy. Like, oh, like she's just not gonna give a shit.
I think it's too easy to do the damsel thing where you're like, oh, the only reason that she would have possibly wanted to do that is because I'm so suave. It's like, no, she might have just wanted to do that as well. Like,
yeah, that's on her bucket list too.
Yeah. But yeah, you are an asshole for the gift thing. I don't even know why you included that. Just don't even mention it.
You know why he did it, dude? He just has broken up with her, right? So like he bought her the small Christmas gift, and he was like, "Hey, I'm giving you something small, but keep in mind your birthday comes in May, and you're getting something big." And he knew May was never coming, so he got off on a cheapskate gift, probably taking a medium-sized gift from her. That's your only asshole-ish thing. You played some sort of like Secret Santa game with your girlfriend, and you were a douchebag about it. You cheaped out on her. But sort of manipulating allowing the situation to flow as it will, and getting some anal sex at the end doesn't make you an asshole, I don't think.
Yeah.
So I voted 2-1. I think he's a double asshole, and you guys think he's a single asshole.
Yeah, but only because of the gift thing, really. The sexual thing, like I don't know, he would know better than us because like he fucked the girl. But like, was it a situation where you were like, "Come on, let me do it," and she was like, "No, never. I never want to do that." And you were like, "Come on, we're gonna be together forever."
Come on, drink this.
So let's do this. Let's say it was hypothetically her vaginal virginity, and he knew damn well he was going to break up with her a few weeks later. Should he have taken that? Knowing that he was going to dump her.
Yeah, but see, that's also a different experience situation because like in the scenario we're currently in, they're having lots of regular sex, I presume. So it's not like intimacy or sex is a new thing. It's not like we're boldly going where no man has gone before on an intimacy level, because I don't think that's what anal sex is. I don't think that's bringing us closer. That's just a different kind of sex. Right. I don't really see the big deal about her anal virginity either. Like no one's gonna ask or care. Like I think the next guy around is probably gonna be like, oh, good, so we don't have to go through that 3-hour thing where we get you ready. Then all right, great.
I hear where you're coming from. I think that.
I don't have to get out my tools. My tools.
It really comes down to where her mindset is on this thing, right? Because I had a girl who thought about giving me her virginity, right? So this is the summer before I dated Jackie. I was dating this other girl, my high school senior girlfriend, and my lifeguard partner. So I'm a lifeguard on the beach, and my partner, who I worked with like a couple times a week, was trying to get me to fuck this girl. She was pretty, and she was a virgin. And he was funny. He was like, dude, you should totally fuck Woody. He'd be so perfect for you. And I'm like, I would be a good pick. And he's like, you guys could meet tonight under this little lifeguard boat. It'd be awesome. He'll bring a blanket. And I'm like, no, if that's what you wanted. He said, Woody's dick is small to medium size at most. He'd be a great first choice. And I was like, yeah, I guess so. I don't know anything. That didn't matter. I take it. And
at that point in life, you're like, am I in the door? I don't care. Like, whatever. Like,
yeah. And nothing ever happened. Then I probably wouldn't have. But as a bit, I was going along with it. And I think to myself, like, would it have been evil? No. Well, I mean, because I've had a girlfriend, it would have been. But like the idea of a one-night stand virginity take, not if that's what she was going for. Like if that's what she wanted and I provided it, there is no evil there. So
I'll argue for some people it's the best way, because some people get a thing where they put way too much weight on that and they think it's got to be this earth-shattering, like my whole life will change. And if you build it up that much, it's just never going to live up. And so I think it might be better for some people to just knock that out of the way and get that experience under your belt and be like, okay, now we can move from here. Now that we've realized it's just life. There wasn't some rainbow or crazy thing.
I think the ideal way is within the context of a loving relationship, right? It doesn't have to be your last or whatever. Just, ideally it's two people who'll feel comfortable together in a safe spot with time. And, that's first choice, in my opinion. But if she was like, wanting to give it a go, then that's great. I suspect she thought that this guy was more committed to her than he was.
By the way, don't send me any pictures of that. I just want to make that clear. I was like, wait, did I literally request child porn? Yeah, I did. Wait a minute. Take that back.
Yeah, get your Sweden heathenry out of here.
Yeah. I didn't. Yeah. Just to be clear. Well, all right. Well, that guy got his question answered. I don't think you're an asshole, dude. It's the fact that you're even concerned about this and you're asking this question means you're probably not an asshole.
He is an asshole on the gift thing. It's just whether he's a double asshole is what's in contention.
Yeah, it seems like you sort of manipulated the system with that gift thing. And the determining factor on whether you're an asshole with a gift thing or not is, did you premeditate this? Did you sit there on Amazon and go, oh, I could get her this one, and then lie about a future gift, and I won't have to get her that one?
Fully knowing the big one wasn't going to happen.
Yeah, that's it. There you go.
That's the ass.
Yeah, that's the asshole move.
All right. I won't say his username. Dude, you're an asshole.
There you go. 3 for 3.
PKN episode 128.
Cock.